We used to always lead in with just some ridiculous thing, and then the music would play.
I don't mean the dick's hot. I mean
The children are hot.
We're learning a lot about Dave Scammell in this podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name is Chris Barrett. I'm weirdly hosting the podcast as Matt.
You're weirdly hosting.
Well, it's my second.
He's naked.
Yeah, it's my second of the podcast, and I've just claimed the host position straight away.
Strung you up in the corner.
Matt's away. You are Matt's brother in crime.
Matt's got
Therefore,
some-
you have to assume hosting responsibilities.
He has some kind of tropical fever from Manchester or something.
Yep, the worst kind.
Yeah.
Worst kind of fever.
I'm
Tropical
hoping,
fever from
hoping
Manchester.
we get him back.
Sorry, do your intro. I've interrupted.
Yeah, well, I am joined by
Me.
the wonderful. I was going
That's so aggressive. Me.
I was going to introduce you first, but you've just gone down the place.
Sorry.
By the wonderful Steve Burns.
Hello.
There he is. David Scammell.
Hello, how you doing?
Not too bad, thanks. And the immovable Simon Miller.
The immovable
Yeah.
Simon Miller. I like that because maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. I don't know.
Find out after the break.
Answer on a postcard.
But yeah, has anyone been playing video games this week?
I've been playing video
tends
games.
to be something
This is
good
the
to talk
second
about.
podcast we've done where, because there was a time when I didn't have time to play video games, but I have played, obviously we had the big Bioshock Infinite chat last week.
Mm-hmm.
This week I've changed up it by playing Guacamelee
Thoughts?
on the PSN and the PS3. You
We're
can do
going to take a look at
cross-platform
that
play.
later on today, aren't we?
Yeah, and a review will go up later today, hopefully, as
sweet.
well, as long as I can pull my finger out.
So this is a game that I'd never heard of
Me
until
neither.
the internet started going, Guacamole is the best thing I've ever played.
Oh, right.
And,
It's definitely not the best thing I've ever played. It's very good though. It's really fun. Like, it's strange because you start playing it, and I'm not playing it on Vita, but obviously you can play it on PS3. So maybe you get more of a big game experience when you play it on your console. But you start playing, you think, oh, it's just another downloadable little thing, and it's fun and it's cute and the art style's really nice. But the more you get into it, it's actually, yeah, there is something more to it. You know, this is a really well thought out game. It's the combat mostly. The combat ranges from like your normal brawler beat 'em up stuff, but then slowly as it sort of teaches you moves and stuff, it almost becomes like Devil May Cry or something like that. So you can change the moves.
So that's
and
the sort of game it is.
Right.
Because I didn't know whether it was a straight sort of fighter
This
or
is it, Dave. It's a lot of games in one. It's one of these jack of all trades games, but so far they're managing to keep it all pretty good. So it's a platformer. Platforming is not my favourite part of this game. Maybe I've just grown out of platforming, or maybe Mario and the like does it so well. You think, you know what? It's really difficult. It's really, really hard. Like, it has this mechanic where I don't really know. I think you're kind of switching between, basically, spoiler, if you get upset that I spoiled Guacamole, I hate you. But can you imagine that on a forum thread? I cannot believe Guacamole got spoiled. I don't know who that was. So you basically, very early on in the game, you die, or you get killed and you get sent to the Mexican underworld. You get given a luchador mask, and for some reason, that gives you a world title belt and brings you back to the land of the living. Land of the dead, land of the
obviously.
living, all that kind of
What a
stuff.
spoiler.
Well, we all know that it would have to be in Mexico, because WWE would never put a belt on a luchador unless your name's Rey Mysterio. We all know this is a fact.
It's starting to
Name
sound
another
like
one.
Grim
Political.
Fandango mixed with WWE.
Do you know what? It kind of is. The
What?
theme and the style of it is very Grim Fandango, like set in Mexico themed music. I'll tell you one thing they do amazingly well, and you may have sort of started to see these things coming on the internet as people pick up on them. There's so many references to other games. There's reference to Destructoid, there's reference to Giant Bomb, there's reference to Mario, there's reference to Zelda, there's reference to memes, popular memes you may have seen.
Oh, that doesn't sound great.
That's the thing though now, isn't it?
No, but it's
There's
just
a
in
lot
the
of stuff
background. It's just
Yeah.
in the background. Like, there's one picture of there's a lot of like Mexican wrestling posters. One has Majora's Mask on it. Now it's not Majora's Mask, but it looks a bit like Majora's Mask. And there's so
It's
much
legally
of it.
distinct from.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. But there's so many of those small touches that it wins you over, because you're like, oh, I see what you're doing. But yeah, so its depth comes in the combat. Going back to the platform thing, so you can switch between the land of the living and land of the dead by going through these portals. So once you get a bit further into the game, it thinks, I know what will be fun. You have to jump off this cliff and go through one of these portals, and then the walls that you can jump on and cling to will then change, and then you have to jump and do a move and grab onto that wall, then jump back through a portal, and you're like, I'm too old, and I don't have a lot of my life left to put this much effort into something. Some people will love it. For me, it's a little bit too much, but it's that kind of stuff and that layer of depth and the whole personality of the thing. It does, and it's very funny as well. just wins you over. It's a really good game.
I'm looking forward to picking it up later on.
Yeah, I don't get the cross-platform stuff's cool, but I mean, if I was playing Guacamelee on my PS3 and then I had to go get a bus somewhere, I don't think I'd continue playing it on
It's not going to save the Vita.
It's not going to save the Vita. I mean, I think I'd listen to a podcast like this one or read a book. I don't think I'd go, I have to continue playing Guacamelee right now, otherwise my life will get worse. But it's really good. It's definitely a surprise. It's definitely far better than I thought it was going to be. And it's much more layered than I could have possibly imagined.
So it's been a banner year then for surprising Mexican-themed games like
Give me another
Guacamelee and the best game of the year, maybe not.
Army of Two.
Army of Two.
Three.
Army of Two,
Is
the
that set in
third.
Mexico?
Oh, it's so good. It's the best game
Steve
of
has
the
made
year.
some bold claims in regards to this
He
game.
does that.
Okay,
a lot.
it's not the best game of the year, but I had so much fun playing it. It's so stupid.
Why can't it be the best game of the year? If you enjoyed
You
it,
gave it a bloody 5.
There are things wrong with it. When your game is about hiding in cover and hiding in cover doesn't work most of the time, you know you've got a problem.
yeah, that's not good.
You know.
That's not great.
But overkill mode, you can, I've said about it before, but essentially it just becomes Commando, the game. And sometimes,
But that's amazing.
sometimes your explosions play over the actual game dialogue. So, as I said in my review, explosions are now dialogue.
Yep.
Like that's every video game's dream.
That's what they want to do
And
for
EA
years.
don't know they've done it.
How many
They
red
don't.
barrels?
And they even reference it. They're like, because they try and lampshade everything because they're so creatively bankrupt. They've made this rubbish game that, because it's so rubbish, is brilliant.
Right.
They've done it by mistake, Miller. EA have done it by mistake.
They do a lot of things by mistake.
Yeah. I don't really know how to respond.
It's okay, right? There should be a double pack: Army of Two, Reloaded, whatever it's called, and Guacamelee, the Mexican pack.
Is Guacamelee...
Right,
why?
Steve Burns white label, yeah, like Mastertronic or whatever. I'm going to start setting that up.
That's amazing.
Is Guacamelee a good name or a bad name? I can't really
It's a terrible
tell.
name. It's a terrible name. I think half the reason I went in with such low expectations, because I thought it was called Guacamole at first, and then someone said, no, it's Guacamelee. And I was like, just call it Mexican Adventure. We already got the other one of the pack.
Mexican Adventure.
Mexican Adventure 1, Mexican Adventure 2. Simple.
It's not the 80s, Miller. You can't just go around calling fucking games by their most literal titles.
Why?
Because people don't like that.
Bioshock Infinite is quite literal. Chris hasn't finished it, so let's not talk about it. I don't want to ruin it for
because
Chris.
people going on about it
We have
for
done-
Infinity, being boring about it.
Well, we've done enough Bioshock.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. I'll play Army of 2 3. I will play it based on you called it
We'll
Commander the game.
We'll play it together and it'll be amazing.
All right, maybe we'll do a video. You and I just play through Army of 2 3.
What we should do is essentially just have a video where the camera is on our faces for the time we're playing it, and
Right.
and then we can take screen grabs of how happy we are about how brilliant it is. And also, it's total shit in a lot of other like, honestly, it's like they went, how can we make the shittest game possible, but redeem it with one really good feature?
Well, they did
If that
it.
was their design document, I'd love to see it. We won't, of course, because at the moment, EA, Visceral and everything, they're probably shoveling all of their paperwork into a furnace along with their staff. But
Simon's eyes have gone. I've never seen them quite so wide.
not that they
I'm not
would
talking.
do that, of course. That was just a joke. They're definitely doing it. But
It's lovely knowing you all. We're going to be sniped later. Just walking home from work.
when Big Pete finally comes to take us down.
He's done it. Are you drunk?
Big
Somebody talk about anything else.
I've been
please.
playing Battlefield
Perfect.
too much.
Online, I take it.
Online,
right?
yeah. I was playing online with this kid the other day, and I love playing it. I was going to say I love playing with kids, but that does sound very
Right,
wrong.
so you're
Right.
going down for what you said. You're going down for that. You're all right, Chris. We haven't said anything so far.
Let me explain. So you get two types of kids. You get the type of guys that go. You get the type of
Ones
guys
that will get into the van and
Yeah.
ones that won't.
You get the ones that are just rude and, dickheads, basically. And then you get those that take it so seriously
Yeah.
that it's hilarious. And the other day I was playing this kid and he was like, "Oh, Dave, I'm under fire. I'm under heavy fire. Come and back me up. Come and back me up." And he was treating it like it was like an actual military simulator. And it was incredible. And I was just playing it in this squad deathmatch mode for about 2 hours with this guy. And he was amazing. It was the best Battlefield experience I've had in my life.
Did you know him?
No, I don't
Has your,
know who
has your
he was.
gamer tag got Dave in
Yeah,
it? All right,
yeah,
okay,
I
right,
was going
okay.
to say, how did that happen?
Yeah. But no, amazing. And and it's made me really excited for Battlefield 4.
Have you been playing the new DLC at all?
Not the very latest one.
Right. And it's got motorbikes in
Which,
it.
by the way, this reminds me, this is something I talked about the other day, not here, but somewhere else, but the whole premium thing, I'd be well up for that if EA hadn't already shot themselves in the foot by giving me back to Carcam for free. And they're doing it again with Battlefield 4, in that they're basically devaluing their own season pass by giving that content away to pre-order customers.
It's a bit strange.
See what I mean?
Yeah,
I would have bought premium,
Yeah.
but because I'd already had one for free, it just worked out that I was paying exactly the same overall for it anyway. So
Dave Scammell doesn't want free DLC. No, sir.
no, it's not that at all. It's that if they're going to do that, then they're going to have to give me a little bit more.
If it carried over, it'd be great. If your premium accounts carried over.
Well, I said this. Like
They should do it like a network on TV. Like you subscribe before you get everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like if they said to me, get Battlefield 3 Premium and all your Battlefield 3 maps will carry over to Battlefield 4, I'd be in there
Yeah,
straight away.
it's small things like that where games kind of show their infancy still a little bit. Like that should just be commonplace.
Yeah. And there's no reason why it can't. It's the same engine. I know
Well,
they
they
put a
think-
3 on it rather than a 2.
I assume
but
that.
it's the same thing.
I assume they think they'll make more money doing it this way. But in terms of actually sort of building they do have a very big install base anyway, so maybe I don't have a leg to stand on. But you'd think in terms of building your install base, if you offer those incentives, people will stick with you.
Yeah.
And there's a huge reason to buy into it then.
Yeah. But no, you're right. The whole subscription thing, I'm sure that will happen next gen. I'm sure
Someone's got to get it right. I mean,
pay
bizarrely,
60, 70 quid a year, everything Battlefield.
Well, that's a rumor that the console itself might be subscription based.
Wow.
But the best, what's doing it best at the moment? PS Plus, right?
Oh,
that's
amazing.
the best subscription system you can get with video games.
Hitman Absolution free next month.
Absolutely.
Very
that's,
good.
that's a 50 quid game. It's not, but you know what I mean? It is.
Not if Square are saying the prices. Now it's £5 3 minutes after release.
But that's amazing. It's essentially Netflix for games, PS Plus. I mean, it's not as good because they're not all just there and instantly accessible. But you'd think next gen, especially, someone has looked at that model, look how successful Netflix is, look what happened to Blockbuster, and go, let's buy into this now. People will still buy games fine, but let's give this, and I assume PlayStation will have to do it because they've
they're
now
trying,
set a
yeah,
That's
precedent.
what they've
But-
teased with the whole back catalogue stuff, isn't it? So
That'd be amazing. I think we chatted about that last time.
Yeah, I think Matt was on about it. I mean, I bet there's a bunch of people who subscribe to PlayStation Plus, and that can just that'll be it. They can.
I subscribe to it because of that. And you know what? I'll admit it. PS3 isn't my primary console because of the networks. I have more friends on Xbox Live. I'm more likely to pick up an Xbox 360 title. But I subscribe to PlayStation Plus because
It's
of
Ace.
and I don't mind. It's fine.
Yeah, it's made. I mean, I like Xbox Live because it works. And I think, if you've got a checklist, something working has to be quite high up. But in terms of what it offers outside of that, PlayStation does have it. Does have it trumped almost because you get so much more for your money. Whereas, was it 40 quid a year for Live?
Yeah.
I haven't renewed
Well, it's the
my
same
live
price.
account in a year.
Yeah, but
So
all you
like-
really get is Live, isn't it? I mean, you don't really get
I'm
much
worried
else.
Microsoft aren't going to see it. I'm worried they're not going to see it. They're going to go, we're
Yeah,
Microsoft, we're Xbox.
I tell you what,
And we're
Microsoft
already
don't have
making a
to
lot of
see it.
money.
Yeah,
That's
Microsoft's swimming in Scrooge McDuck cash.
Yeah, but
So-
you think like all the negativity towards the next Xbox at the moment, even though it hasn't been announced yet.
It's because they're not saying anything. That's the big problem.
They can't though. They can't. They can't say yes. They can't say no because they can't win.
Yeah, but as a result, there's just a load of bad rumors.
Did
that
you,
can't be
did you see
helping.
the video of that guy smashing up his Xbox the other day?
That was weird. Yeah.
There was one line in that. It made me laugh. It was hilarious, but at the same time, like, it's so true. He's like, Sony are winning the race just by turning up and not being arseholes. It's like,
But everybody was saying the opposite 4 years ago or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
so I
totally.
think,
That's because PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3.
no, I love the PlayStation 3 because I get to get 2 jobs to afford it. That's how
Yeah.
much I want it.
Did you learn
That's
discipline?
real. That happened. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
happened. Unbelievable.
Ken, I love Crazy Ken.
Mm.
I think that the unfortunate thing is his legacy's been a bit tarnished because he went totally fucking insane. But great guy. But I think that if the next, obviously I'll get the new Microsoft console in one way or another. We'll either have it in the office. I'll have access to it.
I'll buy it.
I love the 360, but I'm not paying 40 quid. Steam. Steam is a thing. And I'm just like, well, I'm playing the next generation, quote unquote, video games right now in fuck off of Vision,
yeah, but then you are paying that premium to do that. You would have paid X amount for that PC to do that.
Well, not if I stole it.
It's a good point.
Well,
yeah,
all right,
Dave.
fair
Not if he
enough.
broke the law. You never thought about that, did you?
Breaking the law is my default stance.
Winding the clock back a bit. Battlefield 4, you mentioned. Now,
Yeah.
I'm a passing fan of Battlefield. I don't. It's okay. I get the appeal. Well, I get the appeal, but I don't have the. I can't think of the word, the motivation to go in there and sit there through a game. But you saw Battlefield 4, right? Mixed reaction, because a lot of people went, oh, video games.
Yeah.
A lot of people went, oh, video games.
Yeah.
What do you think? As a man that's obviously still playing 3, so as a big fan.
I'd have preferred it if they'd shown the multiplayer. I think that would have got much stronger
That's
reaction.
the big thing, really, isn't it?
But, you know, it's almost an admittance from EA that they realise that the single player is not as desirable. So they get that out of the way first, knowing they'll build up the excitement by revealing multiplayer at a later date. But at the same time, that works the other way as well, where people go, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought it looked quite good.
What about all the graphics that it had?
All the graphics.
All those
loads
graphics.
of graphics.
It did look really good. I mean,
The facial stuff I thought was incredible.
That's what I thought. And a lot of people go, oh, rough. But no, I think, you know, conveying emotion on a face is quite important.
It's difficult to get a sense of the actual game behind it. And, you know, sitting in that theatre and listening to the way they were talking about it before they showed that demo. Basically, what we saw in the theatre was exactly what you saw online, plus DICE coming out with their marketing spiel of, oh, we're bringing multiplayer into the single player. It's like, well, how are you doing that? Oh, you can now tag enemies in single player. Brilliant.
Is that actually, I didn't know that. Is that what they said?
Yeah, essentially. They said they're bringing multiplayer into single player. You can tag enemies, and
It doesn't make any sense.
and you could. It's the whole more sandbox approach to things. So now you can flank guys around the side while your NPCs, you know, get them from the front.
Is that bringing multiplayer into the single player?
No, it's just being Bad Company 2 again, or Bad Company 1.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. It doesn't.
What was that game, Burns? What was the game called?
Battlefield Bad Company 1. Again,
Sorry,
it
you hate
definitely
this, don't
exists.
you?
I
Has
do
that ever
hate it.
been addressed on this podcast?
What, the-
Burns' odd obsession with not putting ones in front of
calling me
games
out
that
for
have
things.
ones?
It's not called Bad Company. Look, as I said before, I was in the building when they were making it. At no point did they go, and now we're doing Battlefield Bad Company 1. So they've gone, wrong, EA. Wrong.
Anyway,
For brevity's
You
sake,
have to call it the
it's
original.
fine.
The original.
For
that's
brev-
what it is.
no, I've explained it before. I think it was Vic and Bob on Shooting Stars that ruined my life by putting this in my head.
Vic and Bob ruined your life.
Well, they're obviously awesome, but I'm sure it's on Shooting Stars. One of the questions was name all 4 Lethal Weapon films, and the woman went,
Oh, no.
Lethal Weapon 1, wrong. There's no such film as Lethal Weapon 1, and I was like, that's actually correct. Yes, it is. But yeah, speaking of Bad Company, I loved the original Bad Company because it took the piss out of everything DICE then went on to do. Like, it had that cool jingle that started it. It was taking the piss out of like tropes of.
Yeah.
Did we talk about this on the podcast last week or the week before? We were like, Battlefield 4 clearly was almost Bad Company 3. Like, the whole way it seems set up with the whole you're sticking to one squad. You're always going to play as that character. There's a lot more interaction between you and your squad. I mean, that seems very Bad Company to me.
But Bad Company 2 single player, in my opinion, was rubbish.
I wonder what they're going to do with the Bad Company, because Medal of Honor
okay,
is
it was
dead,
okay.
pretty much.
Yeah,
So
Medal of Honor's
EA
gone.
need a yearly shooter. We know this is true. Do
Yeah.
they start doing Battlefield, then maybe just call another one Bad Company?
I wouldn't be surprised if it transitions to this kind of subscription service, and it's just new maps, new campaign next year. Done.
Can they make as much money as that as they do without releasing a game? I don't know if they can.
I don't know. Don't see why not.
I don't know. Maybe they should do that. I'm just because obviously we know we've got Call of Duty this year. Obviously Battlefield's this year, isn't it? 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got those. So next year, Call of Duty again. We know that.
Yeah.
So what do EA do? No Medal of Honor.
Dead Space 4.
Maybe. Or maybe.
Definitely coming.
Yeah, no, I don't know. What have they got? What have they got? They've got no shooters left, have they?
But we should be
Where's
in
the
next gen.
respawn game?
Well, this is the thing. Took the words out of my mouth. We should be in next gen territory comfortably by 2014. Surely that's the time the respawn game comes out. What the hell? The respawn game have dinosaurs in it. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, silhouette, that's a
Respawn has
dinosaur."
dinosaurs in it.
You know that one picture they released, and one of the silhouettes was like a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's
But
bollocks, isn't
where have all the dinosaur games gone?
it?
Fine point.
Where are they?
Every game is improved by a dinosaur.
It's
too.
true. Honestly, if the respawn, let's say somehow they called it Call of Duty, obviously they can't. But it was called Call of Duty Dinosaur, buying that game over anything Activision does.
Have you seen the map pack for Black Ops 2?
No.
End of this month.
Dinosaurs.
There's a map in there. I think it's called Studio, and it's just a Hollywood movie set, big Jurassic Park set. But that's not Jurassic Park because
Do I get to go in the?
It's all dinosaurs and shit.
What's it called? The reception area. It had a name. I don't know. We don't talk about Jurassic Park. I'm just saying. I'm intrigued to see EA are going to do with shooters because obviously Battlefield 4.
Yeah, but dinosaur shooters have always been rubbish, haven't they?
Well,
Trespasser.
Turok was amazing. You had like £3,000.
Come on now, yeah.
Turok 2 with the cerebral boar. Is that what it was
great
called?
weapon.
It's brilliant.
Jump in the water.
But I'm just intrigued to see what EA will do next year. Because maybe they will start, what do you call it, doing Battlefield Respawn. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do?
Well, Respawn's a EA Partners thing, isn't it? So it's not even something that EA own the IP to. So I'm not sure they'd want to do that. I don't know.
I'd be intrigued. But I mean, I think Battlefield looked cool. I don't think you got much from it. And I just think
it will look nothing like that on the platforms they've announced it for, or the consoles they've announced it for, should I say?
No.
Because the new Xbox doesn't exist. I tell you what, the next interview I go to, and I obviously asked the question about the next Xbox, and they go, I didn't know they were making such a thing. I'm going to say, you're a fucking idiot. They say, are you an idiot? That's going to be the next
The
question.
follow-up question is, are you an idiot?
Are you an idiot? And they'll go, well, no. And go, so don't lie to me about this new Xbox.
They won't say that. They'll say, Steve, your interview's over. Please leave the building.
Never
good.
come back.
Good.
By the way, you're banned from all future events.
Well, I'm just asking, because it's getting stupid now. It's like the games press is filled with people going,
okay, but playing devil's advocate here. If you're a developer, what else can you say? Realistically.
Well, just don't bother turning up. Because you're not doing anything anyway, sitting around saying your game's going to be the best game ever, when really it's going to be shit.
Yeah. I love the line, other next generation consoles. It's like they're using it as a plural to try and throw us off the scent a little bit.
We use a next generation console.
Really?
The future of gaming.
Really? Wow.
Wii U will come good.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
Wii U will come good?
Yep.
Do you think that?
I just wanted to be different. I hope it does. I haven't bought one yet, and I found no reason to. I would like them to, well, when they release Zelda, obviously. But
would you buy one just for Zelda?
Yes.
Has an expensive commitment for Zelda.
Yeah. I sold my Wii when I got bored of it, and I bought it back to play Skyward Sword. I'll do the same with whatever Zelda comes out on Wii U.
Steve's shaking his head.
There's nothing quite like Zelda, though. It's an experience to be cherished.
Darksiders?
No, it's not good.
Not good.
Not as good.
Oh,
not
right,
as
okay,
good.
Okay.
There's nothing like Zelda as a charity. How the hell have we got onto Zelda from Battlefield 4?
I think it's because just being so overwhelmingly negative about everything, Miller.
No, me? You're the one telling developers to eat shit or whatever.
Well, I'd like to clarify my previous statements. I'm just so excited for the next generation.
Yep.
I'm really negative about
You've just
it.
said I don't need anything but my PC.
No, but I am still excited. I just can't go to another event where they go, "Hey, we don't do
is
anything."
pretty.
You know,
What next
because it's
Xbox?
frustrating. Yeah, exactly.
Someone else.
Imagine if there wasn't one.
Someone quickly talk about games they've been playing. We've entered some weird territory.
Dave, I was going to mock these guys earlier for talking about playing Army of 3 2 together.
Yeah.
But we did play
Army of 3 2.
Army of, that should be the name of the game.
Army of 5
Really
6.
Why not?
Army of
That's the direction it's
169.
going. But we played Resident Evil Revelations HD at the end of last week.
We tried to play it.
And it just wasn't very good.
No. I watched that video back because when we were taking the piss out of the wolves.
Yeah. The wolves that dance around you.
I'll be
whilst
honest,
you
I wasn't
stand
really
still.
paying that much attention. I was just coming out with a load of bullshit while you were playing. But I went back and watched it. I was like, yeah, actually, those wolves do look really shit.
Yep. And they just don't act
the
very well
AI
as
was
enemies.
awful. The AI was, and I know it's preview code, and I know things might be fixed in time for release. I've yet to see an occasion where something major like that has been fixed between preview.
But you
and review.
can't say that's the end of it.
Yeah, it's.
But how is it so bad? Because the 3DS game is really good.
Yeah, but it plays like a 3DS game on a console. That's the thing. They've consolified it in terms of adding a HD texture.
I mean,
to it, but
I only saw what Chris played, which was 20 minutes worth at best, really.
yeah, about 20-25.
But the wolves, you're shooting at them, and they're either standing there, like not even reacting to you being there, or they're running into each other and not doing anything. And it's
because it controls like a 3DS game, and you can't move around very quickly. You pretty much stand still and just shoot at each enemy individually. But they're quite happy to just dance around you and just let you do that. And you should have died within the first 10 seconds.
Resi's always been relatively clunky.
But it hasn't been
and
that
I know
bad
you're
on
going
a
to go
console.
mad at me for saying that.
Absolutely not. That's part of its appeal.
Right.
Well,
or was. When
you play Revelations HD.
I certainly won't. I played Resident Evil.
You'd like it on 3DS.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's good.
Resident Evil 6. I really like Resident Evil 5. I'm a big Resident Evil
I like
fan.
Resident Evil 5.
The original Resident Evil is my favourite game of all time. And then I played Resident Evil 6, played the Leon bit. I was like, yes, this is really good.
Oh, what? Even the Leon bit is crap.
Well, and then that's just like your opinion, dude. And then I got onto the other bits, and I just
Other bits being the other characters, or
I
other
just
Leon
didn't know
bits?
what they'd done. But
you still had 8 hours of Leon?
Yeah, it was a very long campaign, wasn't it?
It felt like it felt like people were running around with like loads of design documents in their hands in Capcom HQ, and then they rounded a corner at the same time, ran into each other, and they were so late for their pitch meeting that they just picked up whichever sheets they could, and they were going, right, so we've got 3 main characters.
Right, okay.
Okay. They're all going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Sorry. There's a fighting bit. One of them fights, but we can't make the fighting work. Yeah, I know we just.
Why would someone have that on a design document? Don't make fighting work. Oh yeah, cheers for that.
Sorry, yeah, that was one of Capcom's many other games. But, do you know what I mean? It just felt so disorganized, and so. I just hope Resident Evil gets back to being good.
Well, Revelations HD isn't going to be the one to bring you back.
You're really against it. I think you really didn't like it. And to be fair, you're the one that's played it the most here. Yeah. So, you're...
And it's not download, is it? This is full on.
And that's the most frustrating part about it. It's a full price game.
Is Riot raid mode in it?
Yeah, but we couldn't play cooperatively on the console. I don't know.
No, I'm not sure if there's an offline
we're not sure, but
multiplayer mode.
Dave, as you might have seen in the video, struggled a little with raid mode.
I struggle with everything when I'm doing it on a video for us. I don't know why.
Too much pressure.
Panic.
Yeah, when I'm at home with my online buddies, with the kids.
With your kids.
We got to close this operation down.
Let's stop that now.
Mm-hmm. Good cut-off point there. I like it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I like Revelations on 3DS.
Yeah, most people do.
I would never, ever play it again in HD on my console. I have no appeal to do that. But then again, as far as I'm aware, nobody bought it on 3DS. No. So I guess you got to do something with it.
Well,
at least you got 2 analog sticks now, like on the actual controller.
Dinner tray.
That's what you call it, the dinner tray.
Yeah, the 3DS dinner tray.
We can safely say, so 3DS, the Revelations 3DS didn't sell. Revelations HD apparently isn't.
I haven't seen a lot of buzz about it either.
Steve,
up next month.
obsessive Resident Evil 6 fan, didn't like Resident Evil 6.
What?
Is Resident Evil dead?
It's been a bad last year for it. A really bad last year.
It's
what
one of those.
They do to save it,
there's
Steve?
The market forces, isn't it? It's like in the Square thing. Square released Ozungama Sutra. There was this talk about the reasons why Square thought that Tomb Raider would sell 6 million copies in 45 seconds. And part of the reason was like, positive Metacritic scores. That literally means fuck all. Like the Metacritic weighting came out, didn't it? Did you see that?
Well, yeah, but that wasn't legit, was it? Apparently.
Well, whatever. Cut that bit.
That doesn't serve my argument, Dave. So no.
But either way, there's still like discussion to be had there that we'll talk about later on or whatever. But again, Metacritic is like, oh yes, well, good games get with great scores. Some, a lot of them don't sell very well.
6 million in a month is slightly out of whack.
And that's what Resident Evil 6 is going for.
They're like, blimey.
They were like, we're going to make it like COD. We're going to make it action focused. People want action. People don't want to be scared.
What are we talking about now?
Resident Evil 6. Right. And then they made this.
But Tomb Raider. Does that sound like Tomb Raider?
I thought we were still Tomb Raider.
Yeah. They made this horrible.
But then on the other side, sorry, I'm tapping my mic stand because I want to make a point here.
Good point making.
I think Far Cry 3's Metacritic score had a lot to do with its success. Because I don't think people were all that excited for Far Cry 3. I think there was a certain audience that was, certain portion of the market that was, but the fact that it was getting such high
good word of mouth, didn't it? Yeah, stuff like that.
So I think it works both.
Were people saying its Metacritic score is great, or were they saying I've read loads of good reviews?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is it?
It's interesting.
It's one and the same, I think.
I think the thing about Tomb Raider as well is it didn't have a negative vibe before the reviews came out, but I don't think there was an overwhelmingly positive vibe about what was happening with it. I think people thought.
I think there was within the industry. I think outside the industry, it did fall flat.
Yeah,
it sold very well, but not.
It did 3.5 million copies.
3.5 million copies.
I don't think Underworld didn't do that, did it?
Doubt it.
Why did you become a horse then? That's it. But before we get off topic too much, Steve Burns, as a lifelong, somewhat obsessive Resident Evil fan, what does Capcom do now to save a franchise that is in decline?
Well, it has 2 options. It either pushes it into a more action-focused territory.
But he's done that with 6, didn't he? You didn't like it.
But make it... But that 6
Raccoon City 2
had too many campaigns and all of that. Just make it one campaign. Try and make it a bit more like Resident Evil 4, essentially. Which I know is asking a bit much, but I'd like to see it return to the horror roots. And I don't necessarily mean the old tank controls and the fixed cameras. Yeah. I just mean scale back your production. You don't need all that money to make a really, the game doesn't have to look like the greatest thing ever. It doesn't have to have 600 people working on it. It just needs a moderate budget and people who feel really passionate about it. In the Resident Evil, this is the thing. In the Resident Evil 5 official guidebook, Yeah, I've got that. In the back of it, like the two
How to
producers,
make a Resident Evil game.
the two producers of Resident Evil 5, they say something like, well, we're a bit burnt out after Resident Evil 5, and at the moment, we're all playing blackjack to see who's unfortunate enough to get to direct Resident Evil 6. They said that in essentially their own marketing material, and I was like, this is going to be great then. I'm really looking forward to it. So I think they need to scale it back. I think they went too far the other way, didn't they? They thought if we just put loads of money and loads of ads, money into it, it will just sell. And it did sell well, but it just wasn't very good.
Talking of dinosaur games, though.
Yep.
Dino Crisis.
Oh, Dino Crisis 2 is so good.
Yeah.
That's Capcom, wasn't it?
Oh, and then they made Dino Crisis 3.
Well, they've said they're not bringing that back, haven't they?
No, that's dead.
Dinosaurs in
Dinosaurs.
space.
Much like the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Dinosaur games are extinct.
Too much
Do you know what
like it.
dinosaur game they should make? Or shouldn't? They definitely shouldn't make this. It's just
Jurassic Park?
dinosaurs. You remind me. Do you remember Denver the Last Dinosaur?
Oh my gosh.
you
He's
remember-
my pal and a whole lot more.
Exactly. Now that's from the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's getting arrested from the 1980s for allegedly being.
Are you going to insinuate that Denver the Last Dinosaur is going to get
His
taken
theme
down?
tune says that he's my friend and a whole lot more.
Oh god.
Can you? I can just imagine it on the front page of like BBC. Denver, 80 star Denver arrested for being a dinosaur.
You can't imagine that because he's fictional.
And a dinosaur.
He's almost as he's not as fictional as. No, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, don't.
Okay, let's just move on.
Yeah,
Let's
Chris,
move on.
what's next on the Video Gamer UK podcast?
It's Dave's big news of the week.
Oh, is it?
Sure, if you like.
If I want it to be.
Oh, God.
There's a little game out there on the internet that doesn't exist.
All right.
I
Okay.
don't know if you've heard of it.
Well, I haven't. It doesn't exist clearly.
It's something to do with some Far Cry thing.
Dragon Bloods, something
like
along those
that.
lines.
Yeah, so everyone's playing it, except
I think of all the companies to have a game go and get torrented, Ubisoft are probably the worst because now their whole screw you PC gamers, we're going to screw you over with online is just going to get worse.
the whole DRM
Yeah.
debate. So that is out there, although officially Ubisoft haven't even announced it. They haven't acknowledged it existed. But yeah,
You can play it.
but yeah, if you
That's
want to
a
have a go,
paradox.
if you want to have a go, apparently it's out on certain torrent
It's still just a
websites.
big April Fool's joke.
How did it?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
very
so
elaborate.
it
leaked through Uplay, is that right?
It leaked through Uplay. Apparently, there is an exploit these Russian hackers allegedly found that tricks Uplay into thinking that you own. You can make it believe that you own all of the catalogue or certain titles within the Uplay catalogue.
And you find it within that.
And you can find it within
Right.
that, and you can download it freely, essentially, which is ridiculous. It's like, what is an unannounced game doing on Ubisoft servers in the first place? And how have they got such a big security loophole
Yeah.
where, and I don't know if Uplay does third-party stuff as well, but I imagine if it does, they must be
Yeah, be angry.
fuming.
Yeah.
Ubisoft have disabled the PC download service from Uplay
Yep.
in response to that. But this game might exist, does exist.
What is Blood Dragon?
Couldn't tell you.
Oh,
Are you allowed to say anything about the event that you went to?
Did I go to an event?
Oh,
Don't know.
Do you even exist, Dave?
Who
Dave,
knows? I am a blood dragon.
From what we know from leaked things, and I know this, I'm just,
Go on, you
playing
tell me
devil's
what you
advocate
know.
here.
You tell me, yeah.
I lie. I look at it, I don't really understand. It's some weird retro thing, right?
It's an 80s vision
Yeah,
of
yeah.
futuristic future.
2006.
How
is
does
supposed
it
to be,
fit
what is
into
it?
Far Cry 3, or it doesn't at all?
It's a standalone thing. It's not.
Right.
It's going to be released as well.
So you're not on the
It's
island.
Possibly going to be released.
You're
as
not Jason
downloadable.
Brody?
you
That's not
probably
his name,
wake
is
up
it?
at the end of the game and it's all been a big dream.
Mhm.
And
Usually.
But this whole the main thing from this whole Far Cry Blood Dragon thing is just the ridiculousness of embargoes. So it's like, oh, you've been to the event and we haven't actually confirmed this game, so you can't talk about it, Dave. But if you wanted to,
Don't look
you
at
could
me.
go home tonight and you could get it and play it.
But there is a debate to have embargoes, but I do think this is a specialist case. This doesn't
But
happen that
cannot,
often.
you cannot say, oh no, we don't know anything about
No,
this.
I agree.
Well, it's a thing for Ubisoft. They couldn't ignore the fact that their service has been exploited because, but at the same time, they haven't announced the title that has led to this problem. So if you acknowledge it, you're acknowledging the fact this title exists without announcing it. But you can't not acknowledge it because then it looks like you've been totally irresponsible and your service is completely open to being attacked. So it must be so difficult for them knowing what to do.
It is a special case, you're right. This doesn't happen all the time. But again, it's just that thing of embargoes as a whole restricting information, which is what they're meant to do until a certain time. But this is
you
just
can play the whole game.
a bit silly.
And even before we heard about like the mass kind of pirating going on with it, there was 30 minutes of footage leaked beforehand.
I do
right?
wonder. I do wonder
watched
how
it
much.
yesterday, yeah.
You know, I do wonder if some of it has been orchestrated.
Oh, a lot of it has been orchestrated. A lot.
I mean, so first
Burns
off,
knows.
Well, I do know because I've seen the emails that say, "Oh, please don't tell anyone about our new game, Blood Dragon, and all of our stuff." It's just nonsense.
there was certain stuff that leaked a couple of months ago now, thinking back at it, and I can't remember exactly what it was. But then the achievements popped up. Then that website went up on April Fools, where they tried to make out it was some sort of movie, which was clearly, you know, a load of bollocks. And then obviously all these leaks this week with the Xbox.com put a listing up, which basically verifies that it's a real thing. And
It's not a real thing, Dave. It's not.
It's not.
You haven't seen it, have you? You've not seen anything.
There
There wasn't an event.
no, exactly. It's all just in your mind.
Exactly.
It's,
But Blood Dragon is actually what happened in your mind, Dave.
and it's frustrating for Ubisoft in this situation, and it is annoying as hell for people like me who, you know,
You just want to play Battlefield with kids.
exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
But
Um,
if such a thing were to exist, would we be excited about it?
The internet seems to be. I mean,
I'm not. And I like Far Cry 3. I thought it was good. But I don't really want to
Sounds
play
great,
this.
doesn't it? Sounds like a great idea. Whether it turns out to be or not, it's a standalone downloadable game.
yep.
Well, make up your own mind.
Would you imagine it would be 800 or 1,200 Microsoft points? Or more? Maybe more. Maybe 2,400.
Well, you know, I don't often spend more than 400 Microsoft points at a time. So whether I'd make the exception for this, I don't know.
This theoretical game.
This may or may not exist.
Yeah.
Let's
I
just put it
don't
out.
know. I don't know. I imagine it's going to fall into very two distinct camps, where there's going to be one camp that goes, this thing is amazing, just because of what it is.
Yeah.
And then other people who go, yeah.
It doesn't bother me. I'm not. I don't. If a thing like that were to exist, I don't think I'd play it. I don't think Far Cry 3. It was the overall experience rather than sort of the gunplay and the story that fed me through it. So I don't think I could jump into a world that seems to focus very much on the shooting and the
Yeah, but
story
it's
aspect.
selling itself as kind of a funny 80s.
Does it have Arnold
action movie.
Schwarzenegger in it?
No, but it's got
Then I
very
don't
similar
wanna play it.
characters.
The question really is: would you prefer the kind of, you know, nostalgic 80s VHS scratchiness of Tron as a first-person shooter, essentially, or would you prefer they just released dinosaurs
DLC,
into
yeah.
Far Cry 3's world?
Oh my gosh, that one.
Yeah,
See?
That one.
They-
I
mean,
will
it's-
pay so many. All the Microsoft points I have. How good would that be?
No,
Yeah,
you can
we've
just
discussed
download
this
it from
before.
Uplay for
A mod,
nothing.
get them Far Cry 3 mod, Jurassic Park mod
Why
done.
doesn't that exist?
Exactly. I mean, what are people doing? What are people doing in their lives?
And why is this?
Why are
a
you listening to
standalone
this
game?
podcast? Go and
Yeah,
make
exactly.
a
Go and-
dinosaur mod
Yeah.
right now.
Why is it a standalone game and not just some big
You could play as Muldoon.
expansion?
Oh my
Blood
days.
Dragon.
You could play as Muldoon.
I don't know. It
we're
must be-
cross talking here.
Yeah,
No, it's never good.
No. Anyway, yeah. Blood Dragon.
Games that
It's
don't
probably
exist.
coming out on May the 1st, Xbox reckons. So,
Nice.
who knows?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. If I was an apparition, I'd wait about 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Around
You
that
reckon?
time
I'd wake
frame.
up on a Wednesday. No, it's Wednesday today. I wake up on a Thursday and just go, I wonder what's happened. What's happened in the world?
Who
That's
knows?
it. Who knows?
Next.
Any more big news?
Any more
Or is
news?
that-
There's stuff about PS4 this week, but I think everyone's ready anyway.
Yeah, lots of PS4
I
stuff.
think now until this apparent rumored Xbox reveal next month and then E3, all we're going to get down the pipe is question mark, maybe, what's this?
Yeah.
Then Microsoft will probably come out and go, no, it doesn't have to be online the whole time. The internet will cry, and then that will be that. But maybe it does. Maybe it is online all the time. Let's wait and see. That's the most important thing. Wait and see.
Would that be
This is actually
massively off-putting?
this is one of the questions that,
Oh, is
we
that
had
what
from the
you're-
forum. Yeah.
Shall we get to that later? Let's get to that when it comes up.
Well, no, I
Okay.
guess we can talk about it now.
Oh, I've been overruled.
Over.
No, it's-
There you go. Back in your place, son.
I've taken on the role as host. The power's gone to
That's
my head
fine.
straight away.
That's fine. I like it. Let's do it now.
Would it be an issue? What? Always being online?
Yeah, would it put you off buying?
I can
Xbox?
totally understand why it would. Definitely.
Why, when it is always online,
Mhm.
what's it doing? Because
It's watching you via Connect.
Yep.
It's like how?
true. My point being is that this is genuinely a stupid question. I know what I'm saying, but I imagine people would think this, and I think it a little bit as well. If it always has to be online and I'm playing a single player experience, is that going to screw that up at all? The fact that if I have a bad internet connection,
Well,
Yeah.
it's not that though, is it? Well,
Well,
what do you mean? What if your internet goes down and you're playing a single player game?
Yeah.
Will that
I need to know exactly.
in current gen or next gen?
Next gen.
Let's say the Xbox, as they're
Yeah.
apparently going to call it, has to be online all the time. If I've got crappy internet, so it doesn't go down, but I've got crappy internet, which sometimes I have. I get crappy internet. Is it going to affect my offline being single player experiences?
Well, it depends if they integrate a service that disconnects you and boots you back to the
If it's
dashboard.
like
That's what I
UBs, or if it's just like an authentication thing every 30 minutes.
Yeah, see, that's exactly my point. What does it mean? Because people say always online, and they assume 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if it is just every now and then it sends a ping, and then it goes, okay, you're online, that's cool.
Yeah, but that's still is that cool? That's still pretty shit.
No,
though, isn't
don't
it?
get me wrong. It's not cool, but it doesn't bother me. If it bothers somebody else, I'd support them in that, and I'd be like, I get it, but it doesn't bother me.
It would, but where my parents live, it's in the middle of nowhere, somewhere on the Welsh border, I don't know, and the internet there is dreadful, cuts out all the time, every few hours. It would bother me.
Talking of parents, though, and I mean, there are kids' games out there, and I'm sure there are a certain set of parents that would go, don't like the idea of my 5-6-year-old kid constantly being connected to the internet, even if there's nothing untoward going on at all.
Yeah,
just
you're
the
not
idea
playing
of
with them,
it.
Dave.
I've heard about this guy.
Just the idea of it. Like, I wouldn't be entirely comfortable with that. Like, what could they be exposed to potentially, even if it's absolutely nothing? Like, people won't be
people
sure.
do worry that.
So,
Yeah, of course.
Have you seen how many dicks have been drawn on the Wii U messaging service?
They're pretty hot on that, though, aren't they? I don't mean the dicks are hot. I mean,
The children are hot
We're
on the dicks.
learning a lot about Dave Scammell in this podcast.
Clarify what you're saying,
Please,
Dave.
please.
That is an amazing quote. Can we call the podcast that?
Yep. Why not?
I'm hot on dicks, Dave Scammell. That's out of context as well. I don't think they should do it, but at the same time, maybe it would bother me. Maybe I get it, and I realise I'm massively wrong, and I should have cared about this to begin with.
Like, it's the negativity, again, what we were talking about earlier, is that a lot of people's minds are racing and a lot of questions are being posed, and it kind of feeds back. We want to talk, that's why I was frustrated. I want to talk about the next Xbox. Obviously, we can't. But in that vacuum, people are filling it with their worst.
All sorts of rumours.
People would always assume the worst. And I think OXM actually had a good article about this on Edge. And it's just like...
What did you just do there? Don't get them
Are you-
confused.
Sorry, excuse me. You may bleep them if necessary.
Oh, I will.
Do we have to link to OXM now? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I think we have to link to Edge. I'm not sure how we're going to do it.
Keep on with your
Keep going,
point.
keep
Keep on with your
going.
point.
I can't now. So
All right, look, here's the point.
office
I
politics.
don't think Microsoft are that stupid.
I really hope they're not. I can't see
They are.
how they
They
sell it to
have
people.
been historically very stupid, though, haven't they?
But they know people are angry about it, surely.
Yeah,
you
but
can't
they knew
avoid
people
that.
were angry about their Red Ring of Death, and then they said
about when they use glue to put parts together. I don't know. No one will care about this.
What was the quote by
Things break.
Peter Moore?
Something like that.
Things break.
But did things break once I've carried it home from the store and plug it in? Oh, it's already broken. That was the best thing ever. And I can tell this story again. I've told it in the past, but this is a new podcast. When my first Xbox broke, and I was like, you know what? I took it. I went, fair enough, Peter Moore. Things break. I used your little crappy replacement service. It came back. It's a long time ago. Put Fight Night 3 on. Plugged it in. No sound. I mean, no sound. And half a picture. Now, how is that even possible? So I had to bring him back, and literally I said, can you come get it? The same guy turned up later that day, took my package. I'm like, this is pathetic. This is pathetic. That's when I started to realise that all was not so great in the world of the Xbox 360.
But Microsoft are a software they are like a software firm. So their hardware with Xbox, that was bad, but they're a software firm. So you would hope that they would get their infrastructure right. And I was a big fan of Xbox Live. I mean,
I love
the
it.
service
I still
that
love it.
it offered was wonderful, even if you had to pay. But like I say, that people are thinking all these rumors and design documents may be like circulating. There's probably going to be a lot of truth in those. There's no smoke without fire, etc.
I don't think they'll do it. Though.
I think it's going to be. It probably will be always on, but not as if they're always
Not in
watching.
the way you think it will.
Not like there's going to be a PR guy standing behind you going, "Oh, you're not playing this." Right.
We was always on.
Yeah.
It was always doing stuff when
Remember
you were
that?
sleeping.
He used to start
Flashing its little blue light.
waking you up.
Yeah.
Smash the Wii up with a hammer.
Yeah, I had to turn that bloody light off.
Yeah, I did.
And then I forgot I turned it off. I thought it broken.
I had to put it in a bag and never look at it again.
Oh, dear. So yeah, I think we all widely agree that we'd rather not have it, right?
The way I play at the moment anyway, everything's on the cloud anyway. So when it's offline, I can't play any games because the saves aren't there.
But, come on,
So
look at some of the big examples of always online going wrong recently.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely.
I don't want
Chris.
anything along those lines. They
sarcasm.
Does anyone think they're stupid enough to do this? I just can't see it. I hope.
I think
I'm
they
right
are.
here.
I think they are. I hope they don't.
No.
they
I
are.
think if they do it, I don't think it'll be stupidity. I think they will have run numbers and gone, we'll
Just
make more money.
not enough
doing
people
this.
care
Yeah.
for it to be an
It'll be
exactly.
ambition
Yep.
rather than stupidity.
Yeah.
I don't think anything Microsoft does is stupid. I think sometimes it's horrible and mean, but I think it's all very well thought out and very calculated.
I think it'll be much more of a media box as well, and I imagine they're going to be streaming TV services, and maybe not even TV as you know it today. A lot of their kind of software stuff is focusing now on TV and how that's going to integrate with games.
Yep.
And I imagine that might be constantly be streaming to some degree over the airwaves. And so if you set to record something, say, then it'll always want to be online.
You're
then as
describing
well.
some kind of home
I'm
entertainment
describing
system
some mad 80s vision of the future here. I don't know what's going on, but
that may or may not exist.
I don't know. Who knows? I'm talking nonsense.
Well, shall we move on to a few more questions?
Why not?
This one's directed at all of us, but I think Simon's going to enjoy answering it by far the most. If you were a wrestler, Simon, you're big into your wrestling. I
love
seem to have
professional-
noticed.
I
Did
love
you love
professionalism.
WrestleMania the other day?
I thought WrestleMania was a very solid show, and I think people have to remember, and it does pertain to this podcast, that WrestleMania, much like Call of Duty, is as much as it is entertainment, it's also a bit corporate as well.
Yep.
And they try and offer a little something for everyone. So the days of people turning heel and stuff at the end of WrestleMania are probably dead. They want to please you, the hardcore fan, and they want to please the casual fan.
Very well. So, did the right wrestler win?
Yes and no. The undercard, I'd say yes. The only problem with the main event, and we'll cut this off because if you don't like pro wrestling, like, what am I listening to? If you don't, if you're not in, if you're more of a hardcore fan, you would have hated all the main events because the whole big problem was I can predict what's going to happen and exactly what happened. So yeah, but it was good. I enjoy it. If you haven't seen it and you're into your wrestling, watch it. You have fun. It's a big spectacle.
Okay, well, along this line of thought, if you were a wrestler, Simon, what would your wrestler name be, and what would your signature move be called?
Right, I'd be the Iron Mountain.
Oh, that's a good
It's
name.
a good name.
Yep.
And my finishing move, which me and my friend Luke Medland created when we were young. I think I've told Burns this before. And we only realised when we were relatively old that this could never happen because it would kill people. It's called a pileplex, right?
Right.
So you get somebody up into a suplex, and you have to Google it if you don't know what that is.
I will.
And then you drop them, right? So they're falling head first towards the mat.
Okay.
But then you grab them in a pile driver position as they're going down, and then you fall to the mat and drive their head into the ground. Now, you can't even do the basic pile driver anymore in WWE, so that would kill them.
Can you
But
not?
that's what I would do. No, it's banned.
Is it because people's heads kept on getting broken?
Because people
Yeah.
kept dying. So they thought, So yeah, that's
what happens when you come up against one of the? You occasionally get like really large wrestlers, like not muscly, but like wow, what was the?
Big Show?
Yeah, Big Show. What happens when you're up against that guy?
You've got to do it to them, man. You've got to find
How'd
a
you
way.
catch that?
Adrenaline
SummerSlam
from the crowd.
95, wasn't it? Beforehand, when they went on the US set, they went on the boat and they had the Power Slam competition in Yokozuna.
Yeah.
Macho Man tried it, failed. Lex Luger, Mr. America, he did it.
He did
These
it.
all sound like wrestlers.
Does anybody else want to answer that question? I doubt they do.
I'm just trying to think of a funny name.
Do you like wrestling, though?
No,
Good conversation.
I'll be honest, I've never really understood the appeal of it
That's
because
fine.
it always does seem, like you said, a bit too corporate and a bit scripted almost.
Well,
it is.
And Dave, I hate to break it to you, man.
It's this weird halfway house between a sport and a EastEnders.
Sports entertainment, my friend.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
No, I get it. It's
you know.
a very hit and miss.
Yeah.
Most people I know either love it or hate it. So.
Yeah.
I like the show aspect of it.
Yeah.
Like, I prefer, whenever I watch it, which is very infrequently, but the kind of backstage stuff. Not because I think the acting's great or
Yeah.
the stories are well written, but I've seen, when I was a kid, like most kids used to love wrestling, like love it. And then suddenly I just was like, it's because it's the same shit all the time, Oh, I wonder who's going to win at WrestleMania. Is it going to be The Undertaker?
Simon's about to superplex you.
Sometimes they do pull curveballs, but WrestleMania now is it's a much bigger deal than it ever has been in terms of revenue and in terms of being a spectacle that a lot of people buy into. Its mainstream appeal is massive.
Didn't it break the record for the, was it the MetLife
Yeah,
Arena?
80,000, yeah.
and it,
Indoor
like
attendance. No, indoor wasn't indoor, but attendance record.
took the most amount of money.
Yeah. It's
ever.
massive. And this is what people forget, and then we'll definitely
Yeah.
move on because if you're not wrestling, it's boring. And this is a spoiler. Spoiler. Don't turn off now if you haven't seen WrestleMania. John Cena won in the main event, And everyone goes, well, that's crap. I knew that was going to happen. Yeah, to you, because you're a smart wrestling fan. To the casual fan who just wants to tune in, that's brilliant. The biggest guy in the company won. I go to sleep now. And that's that. Simple. Next question.
Well, thank you, PB Live, for that question. I'm gonna direct this one to Steve, just because
Why do you hate games?
Just because he won't be able to answer
games.
it. This is from Mr. Revelation. If you haven't already talked about it, what are your thoughts, experiences on Defiance?
Well, Defiance. We had a bit of a cock up with Defiance. We didn't. The PR company.
Defiance has been a little bit of a cock up to start with.
The
I don't know
PR
what it's
company
like
that were meant to send us the game sent it to our old address. So we only found that out yesterday. But it doesn't really matter that much for kind of getting a review out when it's on release, because Defiance is an MMO essentially. Yep. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have an impressions piece on Friday. And then towards the end of the month, that might change depending on how much time we need, but we'll have like a review essentially.
So I still haven't got my head around Defiance. In my mind, I'm thinking it's a bit like Guild Wars in the sense that you buy it once and you don't have to pay for it. But then it's also tied into the TV show, right?
Yeah, that's right. Which starts
do they add quests based on what happens in the TV show later on?
Is that how it works? Does it tie into TV show?
Yeah, the TV show hasn't started. This is the weird thing. Usually you get the TV show builds an audience and then they sell a really crap game, like The Walking Dead Survival Instinct or whatever it may be,
Great
to
game.
that audience.
Didn't Red Faction do that?
However, with this, it's the other way around. Defiance starts in 5 days or something on, I'm not even sure what it is.
Sci-fi?
Yeah, I think it is. But they've already released this game, this MMO-like game, to an audience that
it's all
isn't
the same
there
characters,
yet.
isn't it? It's all the same characters.
Yeah, that's right.
And somehow it ties in to one another. And I always got the impression that something would happen on one week on the TV show.
And then you play
the next day,
No,
the events in the game would follow on from that. And then it would.
No, I think that's hopeful.
Is that a bit ambitious?
Yeah,
That's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I thought that's pretty
You can
obvious.
send the man to the moon.
That's
true.
That should be an argument for everything. I think
Yeah, that's my argument for everything. Man landed on the moon, right?
make games
Therefore,
better.
I want TV and video
How-
games to
man
tie
landed
in
on-
properly.
Man landed on the moon. How is baldness still a thing?
Yep.
How is that still a thing?
Don't really want to talk about that, Steve, to be honest.
Well,
No.
you should want to know.
gonna sound
Dave. You should want to know.
Yep. So our thoughts, experiences on Defiance are. I don't
I'm
know yet.
very interested in seeing how it does, especially in consoles. So yeah, like
See
I
if
said,
it can work.
Yeah.
If it can work, I'll be impressed.
And
to an
again,
extent.
it's kind of leading into this whole always connected thing for the next generation. And if Defiance does well, I'm not saying it will, won't
Well-
necessarily, but
The thing is, if Defiance had been a bigger deal on its release, people would be pissed off because there were connections issues. I know at least for the
Yes.
first day, people couldn't play.
They tried to make it a massive deal, though. I've been seeing ads on the tubes and stuff for months.
Almost
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no one's talking about it.
I know. There's
It's
just no
weird.
buzz
It's-
for it.
But
Yeah.
a friend of mine who is a casual to hardcore gamer, I hate those terms, but it's
Right,
just
okay,
everyone
so-
knows what I'm talking about.
Casual hardcore.
You know, he knows what's going on, but he doesn't buy the games, straight away. He bought Defiance, and he says it's quite good. And he
I'm
knows
hearing that a
rubbish.
lot,
He knows
actually.
rubbish. He knows rubbish when he sees it. So
guys who aren't, kind of in the industry that I know through friends or whatever,
Yeah.
they, a few friends have said to me, my friends or guys on my friends list have bought Defiance and they're really enjoying it. So, like I said,
Interested.
It's interesting more than excited.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But yeah, should be good.
Okay, what else we've done wrestling, we've done Microsoft, always online. Okay, here's a bit of a random one. What has been the worst big budget game that you've played this gen?
Worst big budget
I
game.
get-
this
Turning Point was that big? Does that count as big budget?
Not cool. I don't know.
Ah, it's terrible.
Mega Mind Ultimate Showdown.
These aren't big budget games. Surely. What does he mean? Big? Does he mean AAA?
Pretty much.
I think so.
imagine.
Disappointing is probably the more.
Yeah.
Aliens, Colonial Marines.
Good shout.
Duke Nukem Forever.
I like Duke Nukem Forever.
Do you know what?
So dreadful. That
Everyone
came
knew
out,
that was
but-
going to be crap, though, didn't they? So I don't know
Yeah,
if that's a
but-
disappointment.
Duke Nukem Forever
I-
stands less as a game for me now and more of a warning from history.
Yeah.
Because the story behind it, I think Wired did the story about how 3D Realms guys, Greg Prasad,
Yeah.
he had
George.
Sorry, he had all that money from Duke 3D and all of that, and he kept on pumping it in, and he got caught in the technology curve, didn't he? He's like every time he went up through the gears, someone was like, "Oh no, we've done this," and there's a similar thing happened with John Romero as well with Daikatana. So it's a very interesting game, but it is total shit.
Yeah.
Apart from the level where you're in the kitchen,
In the diner.
and you've
Yeah.
been trying
Jumping on burgers and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed
I thought
that.
that was the worst.
With Duke, what people people remember about Duke Nukem 3D is they kind of tend to remember all the base stuff. It's like, oh, it had strippers in it, and it had all this. But what Duke Nukem 3D did really well was 3D space.
Yeah.
Like it had little closets, and this was 96, so it had closets. You could get in the closet, and at the time, like, you can get in the closet. So, and you had a jetpack in like the first level, also, and on all of that, and it was set in kind of the real world.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And those things people don't really remember because the things you remember are the catchphrases and all of that. And Duke Nukem Forever doesn't have any. It's 2 weapons.
It's a big
very
corridor.
linear.
Really.
Two
Yeah.
weapons?
Yeah.
Really?
You can
Is
only
that
carry
what it
2
was?
at a time. No, you can carry 2 at a time.
2 at a time.
which
Yeah.
is-
It was
is-
pistol,
Yeah.
shotgun.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And so I read like a lot of reviews. People were like, "No, it carries the spirit of Duke Nukem 3D." It doesn't. It doesn't. Like
No, I
it
agree.
carries the kind of the base appeal. But yeah, that was rubbish. Colonial Marines was crap.
I've got mine. Assassin's Creed.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's-
Big budget, and I was disappointed with it.
Yeah,
The first
it
one.
felt like. A
Oh,
takedown.
okay. So we're going to use the word disappointing instead of worst big budget.
Oh,
game.
okay.
Did you say
Well,
worst?
the question
Yeah.
worst.
Ready? Still Assassin's Creed.
Oh, but can we talk? We should probably do a podcast. Talk about this on every podcast. Hour of Victory.
Our Victory is a very special game.
Have you played
Midway's
it?
Is
World
that
War
the
II
World War-
shooter.
It's like a bit like Call of Duty 2-ish.
But
Call
you
of Duty
have
3.
you have
is-
to select-
Classes.
Go on, Milik.
There's right. So there are 3 classes, right? And if you want to climb ladders, you have to select a specific class.
What?
So two of the classes, you walk up to a ladder and it just shrugs your shoulders. It doesn't have problems.
What is this thing?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
That's real.
I've always been tempted to pick that up. So it's like a fiver.
You should play it. Like you'll
Really?
be
Yeah.
in tears of laughter. It's so poor. It's unbelievable. That probably killed Midway. That game. It is a special game.
It's
That wasn't
so
disappointing.
buggy.
It was amazing. It was absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant game.
Turning point is that, as you said earlier, that's not necessarily disappointing, but it has
Did he say disappointing in his question?
No, it was what is the worst big budget game? And
Because
I think
was
Assassin's
disappointed
Creed
with Turning Point.
is harsh for the worst big budget game. I think that.
But the thing
But
about
worst
big
is quite
budget,
a broad
but big
term,
budget
isn't it?
games though. If we're talking bit too, you've got your Call of Duty, your Assassin's Creed, your Gears of Wars, your Battlefields. They're the big games, and of all of them, I'm sure there's more. Assassin's Creed, I didn't like. I hated it. I hated Assassin's Creed, the first one. So yeah, I'm sticking by it.
the quality jump between Assassin's Creed and
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2
Yeah.
was...
But between Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, yeah. I
Did you say
completely
it?
agree.
Did you do it?
No,
All right.
don't do it. But I remember starting Assassin's Creed 2 and hearing a lot of really positive buzz. But I was like, well, I heard that about the first game. And Assassin's Creed 2 starts and it's like, now I'm Desmond, run down this corridor. And I remember actually slamming my fist into the
Yeah.
table thinking, have they learnt nothing? And then you do that and you get through like the standard Ubisoft Assassin's Creed 16-hour tutorial. And I was like, actually, this is bloody good. And I didn't want it to end. It
Never
was that
played
good.
it.
Well, I think you need to give the franchise
Assassin's
another
Creed
chance.
2 is my
Yeah,
But
personal
still the
favourite.
first one. Chris, do you have one?
I would have gone for Duke Nukem Forever. That burnt me.
Fair enough.
Did you buy it?
Yeah, on the day of release. Yeah,
You did what?
I was.
You should have just been arrested.
I know. It was
Brothers in Arms was
wasn't
shit as well.
prevalent.
Which one?
The latest one.
Oh.
Hell's Highway?
Ooh, I didn't play that one, I think.
That was rubbish.
Did we miss?
And that was another
particularly bad
case
game.
of releasing did they ever call it was a gameplay trailer? They released a trailer that they clearly tried to make it out. This is what it's going to look like. It was essentially a target render, and game's nothing like it.
Game, stop doing
What
that.
about
please.
Vampire Rain? They ever play
That was
Vampire Rain?
hilariously good,
I know.
though.
Shadowrun as well.
Ooh.
No, actually, yeah, Shadowrun was disappointing.
Yeah.
Shadowrun was because I was really excited about that. I thought this sounds incredible, and it wasn't.
And the whole cross-platform play, whether it was PC and Xbox.
Did
Was
you ever
that
try
right?
that? You just
I
got
tried- yeah.
annihilated by people on PC because they could just click to where you were. It's like, well, I'm dead.
Yeah, never a good
Awful.
idea.
Awful.
But yeah, that wraps up the questions from the forums this week. So thank you to everyone who's sent something in.
I like those questions. They were varied.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good. We,
So
we
thank
were
you
all
for
over the
that.
place. Wrestling, Microsoft.
I think I like them because wrestling was involved.
Anyone got anything exciting planned for this week? We're taking a look at Guacamelee. I keep saying
Guacamelee.
Guacamole. Probably this afternoon sometime.
I think this afternoon there'll be a lot of Guacamelee stuff. And honestly, it's better. If you've never heard of it, it's better than you think. And if you had and your expectations are high, go in there, and I think you'll be impressed.
Well,
It's a nice little game.
We'll have an extended play and then a review. So
Yeah.
plenty of Guacamelee.
Guacamelee.
Brilliant. You've obviously got some Defiant stuff coming up later on in the week.
Yeah, we've got Defiance on Friday, Impression. So
But you're also seeing a big game this week.
I am seeing a big game this
Maybe
week.
the biggest game, some would
Yeah,
say.
for a lot of people, this is the
If
game.
if you don't shoot things and you think of big games,
yeah,
kaboom.
yeah.
Guitar Hero.
Do you know what? Because Rock Band announced that their licensing deals are running out, and so I just thought, does anybody play Rock Band or Guitar Hero anymore? Like ever?
No.
But no, everyone's got a pile of plastic instruments in the corner.
Although I would very happily go back to DJ Hero.
Yeah, I never really
Love
played
DJ
DJ
Hero.
Hero. That really felt a massive flop, wasn't it? DJ Hero?
Anyway, should we say what massive game
No,
you're going to look at? Or you
I
can't,
don't think we can.
you're
Well,
just
we
gonna have
can't
to-
say, but I can say that you know, it's related to a sport
It's champion.
which is extremely popular in this country.
Oh, right, okay.
Um,
Netball? perhaps?
Yes, yes.
Goal defense.
Brilliant.
I'm looking forward to seeing whatever this game may be because it's from an established franchise, a very established franchise. It's a huge game, and
And we need something big this year.
we do need something big. And also, we're into
Crossover
the transitional
territory, yeah.
period, and so I want to see what they're doing with the next gen and this gen.
Yeah.
And so, you know, next week you'll have my impressions.
Sounds good.
And yeah,
Dave's always just going to be hitting us with
I'm
big
just
news
gonna
about games.
pretend that a game doesn't fucking exist for
Yeah.
the rest of the week. I think
Sounds good.
doesn't Dave? Doesn't
no.
doesn't.
So
You imagined all that cross. You imagined the event essentially.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
No.
No, I don't think any of us do. So that is a fantastic point to end this week's podcast.
You just wasted an hour of your life.
Thank you very much for joining us. This was the Video Gamer UK podcast. And we'll
Thank
be
you for
back next
hosting,
week.
Chris.
Thank you for hosting, Chris.
Did anyone press record, by the way?
Oh, don't even joke.